Welcome to another UCL Fantasy team selection video ahead of Matchday 6, and we also have the best limitless team and wildcard team videos also up on the channel, and they will also help you in informing you on the decisions. And we're going to talk about Erling Haaland here, and we are going to provide the big update surrounding Matchday 6 and his availability. Be sure to drop this video a like, and let's try to get this over 300, and we're also looking to push on towards 17,000 subscribers. But without further ado, let's jump straight into this video. But first off, let's talk about Matchday 5 and how I did, and I scored 63 points, and my rank actually doubled from around 5,000 to 10,512. So not great stuff. I've got 407 points overall, and you can see the league code on the left-hand side, and it's also in the description below. But really, what let me down this week? The Man City and Napoli assets, with the exception of Di Lorenzo. Erling Haaland and Joao Cancelo were subbed up for half-time. Both of them had fever, but Haaland also had an injury problem, and Guardiola revealed after the Leicester game at the weekend that he had ligament damage and he's not going to play against Sevilla as a result. He's not going to risk him in a game where they've already qualified, but he might feature against Fulham in game week 15, and if not, there's also the Carabao Cup game against Chelsea. So Haaland will not play against Sevilla, and that means he is a sell unless Guardiola is absolutely trolling us, and honestly, I'm done with Pep Roulette. But it would be one of the first times, actually, if not the first, where he's giving us clarification and told us pretty much when to buy or sell a player in Erling Haaland. So thank you, Pep. Hopefully you aren't trolling us here. But that is some huge news about Haaland, and it doesn't stop there, as I'm not that convinced that De Bruyne and Cancelo start in Matchday 6. So that's something definitely to monitor before the Tuesday deadline. Kepa was one of my transfers in, and it didn't pay off as Chelsea conceded. So that wasn't great either. And then my other goalkeeper, Ada, made an absolutely stupid mistake. You know, he's having a good game against Spurs, but then makes a mistake that leads to the goal. And in the end, Sporting were very fortunate, you could say, to not go away with 0 points, because Spurs obviously had that late goal disallowed. But then looking at the rest of the team, Di Lorenzo was definitely one of the highlights of the week with an 11-pointer. And honestly, any of the Napoli assets that started the game against Rangers, I thought they could score huge points. Unfortunately for me, my other transfer in Zielinski in for Sane, it just didn't pay off. He came on in the last few minutes for a 1-pointer, and Kvaratskhelia, who was probably one of the best captaincy options this week, he didn't start the game at all. So Napoli assets definitely let me down. Obviously happy with Di Lorenzo, but not the midfielders. And I was actually contemplating at one point going for Gnabry, who ended up getting a hat-trick of assists against Barcelona, and he would have been my Sane replacement, I like for like. So I'm a bit gutted I didn't go for him in the end, and sometimes you just have to go for your gut feeling and go for who you originally thought of, and sometimes it can come back to bite you. Carvajal came on for a 1-pointer, Real Madrid lost 3-2, and I was actually expecting Vasquez to start over Carvajal, but Courtois to come in for Lunin, and that's why I made those transfers and bringing out Lunin for Kepa. And then you've got Tsimikas, another one who came off the bench, another 1-pointer. So whilst my team looked really good a few weeks ago, it definitely isn't now, with so many doubts in terms of who's going to start, and also players that are going to be rotated because their teams have already qualified. And you've got Upamecano with a 6-pointer. He got a yellow card, but got the ball recovery point and the clean sheet in a 3-0 away victory against Barcelona. So not too shabby there. Kudus, another one coming off the bench, a recurring theme in game week 5 for me. And Bellingham, though, a 5-pointer. He's just a jack of all trades, a great UCL fantasy option. I'm really happy with him. And one of the biggest reasons why my red arrow wasn't that big was because of Kylian Mbappe as my captain. He got 2 goals and 2 assists, but it was Messi who got the 20-pointer and the Man of the Match award. And those two, Mbappe and Messi, are absolutely amazing UCL fantasy options at this moment in time. Jutla, unfortunately, maybe the spark has slowly faded, and he got a 2-pointer there, but I still think he's a decent option at his price. But I don't know if I'm going to go for him in the knockout stages, and I'm not that convinced about him in Matchday 6, but I'm hoping for some big things from him, because I'm not even sure I'm able to even transfer him out with all the other fires I need to put out with my team. So that was Matchday 5 for me. A week of disappointments, only a few kind of sparks there with Di Lorenzo, Bellingham, Mbappe, and that's pretty much it really. The rest were very, very disappointing. But now let's go into the next round of matches, Matchday 6, and I'll talk about how I'm lining up ahead of that Matchday. Without making any transfers, this is how I'm looking like at the moment, and it's just really grim reading. I mean, you look at the captain here, Jutla. Who else do I go to on the 1st of November? I mean, it's kind of difficult to tell. Maybe Kvaratskhelia away to Liverpool, but am I that convinced he's going to start? Not really. So the captaincy isn't looking great for me, and that's why one of my transfers could help me in terms of solving my captaincy dilemma, on the 1st of November. So Kvaratskhelia could be my captain, it could be Jutla, but honestly, I'd rather captain someone else on the Tuesday. And in terms of the Wednesday, it probably would be Kylian Mbappe, because as I said, Erling Haaland will not play against Sevilla, according to Pep Guardiola himself, speaking with the BBC. But I have Adan there with a good fixture on the 1st of November, so maybe I don't need to have Kepa on the 2nd for a goalkeeper clean sheet. You look at the rest of my defence, I'm not sure if Tsimikas will start, and to be honest, I think it will be Robertson. Upamecano at home to Inter. With all the other problems Bayern Munich have, no Neuer, no Lucas Hernandez, and also some other injuries at the back, I think Upamecano does start this one, but still, I'm not that convinced with the likes of Cancelo, Tsimikas, and also potentially Di Lorenzo. But Napoli have a chance of securing top spot, and if they play a really weak team, I would not be surprised if they get blown away by Liverpool. But on current form, Napoli are a far better team, and they are probably the favourites in this game, to be fair, despite the historical context of Anfield and what it represents. In terms of my other defender, Carvajal, another one that I don't know if he's going to start. So my backline is looking a bit horrendous at the moment. Kudus is a great option against Rangers if he does start. But is he going to? I'm not so sure. Probably starting the recent Eredivisie and Champions League games. So honestly, that's not a great one. Zielinski and Kvaratskhelia. In hindsight, the Zielinski transfer was a poor one. And honestly, I just went for it because of the fixture. And to make matters worse, one of the most reliable options in UCL Fantasy, Erling Haaland, will not play against Sevilla. So he's someone I need to transfer out. He's a lot of money to just bench, and honestly, I can get a lot of returns by making the right move up front to replace him. Kylian Mbappe, I think he will start against Juventus. He's a great option, and that fixture is actually really good on paper. So really, you look at my team, and there's maybe 2 or 3 good options for Matchday 6. I know Bellingham's a really good choice. I'm happy to have him. De Bruyne, if he starts, is great as well, but I'm not so sure he does. So really, there's 3 or 4 good options, and the rest are either doubts to start, might have a few problems in terms of injuries like Erling Haaland, or just in general aren't that good, especially when you look at the fixture. So now let me show you my transfer plans. I may even be open to taking a hit potentially, but really I want to make 2 free transfers and try to limit hits if possible, because there's only 1 match day left before we get unlimited transfers heading into match day 7, and there's only 13 match days in general, so hits aren't the greatest thing in UCL Fantasy compared to FPL, for example. So let me show you my 2 proposed transfers, and if you have any suggestions, then be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. With Erling Haaland set to miss out, I think Lionel Messi could be a great like-for-like replacement, but I'm also considering Lewandowski to give me that option for the captaincy on the 1st of November. Let me know who you prefer out of Messi and Lewandowski. On current form, I think Messi all day long, but when you look in terms of other factors, such as the captaincy option on the Tuesday, and also the fact I already have Mbappe, and Juventus can still pose problems, I think Lewandowski will definitely give him a good run for his money, and the other transfer would be Salah in for Kevin De Bruyne. However, if I have a good feeling about De Bruyne starting in midweek, then I would keep him and instead focus my attention elsewhere, because I've got Kudus, who isn't a guarantee to start. Zielinski isn't a good option this week in my opinion. Jutla as well, the same goes for him. Tsimikas, I don't think he starts. Joao Cancelo's a doubt to start as well in my opinion. The likes of Di Lorenzo, not a great fixture from a defensive point of view. And Carvajal, I'm also not that sure if he's going to start. So I'm not expecting great things from Matchday 6, despite a few good options here and there, even with these new transfers. So really it just comes down to Messi or Lewandowski, and do I take a hit or 2 to solve my issues? And there could be further complications with the transfers I do make. So players like De Bruyne, if I get rid of him and he starts, despite Sevilla's improvement under the new manager Jorge Sampaoli, I'm not so sure if that would be a wise decision. I think De Bruyne has a really big hole in him. The question really lies with, is he going to start or not? And on that front, I'm not quite so sure. So these transfer plans could definitely change, but Erling Haaland out to Messi or Lewandowski is definitely on the cards. Then it just depends on which other transfer do I make? Do I make multiple and take several hits? And which players do I prioritize in terms of getting rid of them? So once again, I encourage you to let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts in terms of the best transfers to make, and what are you planning to make in Matchday 6. It's always a really difficult time because we're approaching the end of the group stages. A lot of the best teams would have already qualified, and the best assets will then be kind of rested as a result. So there's a lot of questions up in the air, and I think this year more than ever it could actually be absolutely chaotic, and I wouldn't be surprised if I had 7-8 players benched in my 50-man squad. But thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, then be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Let's get this video to over 300 likes, and let's also push on towards 17,000 subscribers. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and you can also check the links in the description below for the Patreon, the channel memberships, and the Discord server on top of the UCL Fantasy League. All of that is there. I wish you all the best of luck for Matchday 6 and the rest of the season, and I'll see you next time.